Hey everybody, so I'm going to redo that smoking video because it didn't record the first video. It only recorded like 15 seconds of it. And then the second video I was trying to pick up where I left off. But yeah, okay. So when I was thinking about this thing about smoking way back in the beginning of my journey, I was noticing that smoking didn't really cause cancer, but I did mention something else was the reason behind that. I think it's all the different chemicals in a lifetime or something that I made that association of why people die from cancer. But really now we figured out that cancer comes from weaknesses in the organs and weaknesses in the systems, okay? So when you know that your body is made up of fatty acid, amino acid, prohormones, and minerals, then you look at people's addictions and what they're trying to balance out in their body. So alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, foods, anything that is FDA approved or it's approved for human consumption is a type of acid, prohormone, and mineral the body needs to survive. So that's why some people can be addicted to alcohol and drugs and cigarettes and live a hella long time with no cancer, and why others are alcoholics, drug addicts, and cigarette smokers and die from some kind of cancer. And so correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation, but that's kind of how our society works because we're so used to making the correlation equals causation when it really isn't correlation equal causation. So now I have to figure out, well, what are cigarettes? Well, what had me think about that? Because my husband is a smoker. So my husband's a smoker. He is relatively healthy, I would say, probably healthier than me, healthier than most people out there. Okay, he may have a few gray hairs because of mineral depletion, but for the most part, he's pretty healthy. Okay, so how is this healthy guy able to smoke every single day? And then why some people who then quit smoking or quit drinking or quit doing their drugs die faster? Well, when your body is getting a steady flow of minerals or acids from the alcohol or prohormones from or nutrients from, you know, whatever drugs or whatever else, or minerals from drugs, when you are getting off your addictions like cold turkey, you are now depriving the body of that steady stream of minerals, acids, and prohormones. Because there's nutritive benefit in everything based upon the balance of your biochemistry, of which why you see some people react adversely to some things and others don't, okay? It's all different biochemistry. So when somebody, you know, so when I was cleaning up around the house using my pine sol, which is just minerals, and then cleaning out the ashtray, which wasn't cleaned out for a couple of days. I don't smoke, but my husband does, and I don't necessarily clean out his ashtray all the time. And then I, you know, started cleaning out the ashtray, and I was like, ooh, it stinks. I'm like, but those are just minerals. Those are no different than any minerals in any, you know, scent that you get from pine sol, from any kind of air freshener, from anything that you smell, taste, or hear. Okay, and so I'm like, and then, you know, he's relatively healthy, and then someone's trying to like get him to buy the Juul vaping pens, and I don't want him to trade one addiction for another, because then the body has to then try to adjust to the new mineral content, and is it matching his biochemistry? And so if he quits smoking and doesn't support it with the right chemistry, like the Jilly Juice protocol, the body now has to adjust, and it may even further weaken his weaknesses. There's no point in going from one addiction to another if it's not really giving the body truly what it needs. Because then you're thinking like, oh, well, then everything is healthy, but not necessarily, okay? Because it all comes down to balances and imbalances in your biochemistry, in your fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals. And so, yeah, when some people do just straight up get off their addictions, whatever it is, they are now depriving their body from the necessary nutrients, acids, and minerals. And so then this is why you see people go from opioids to then kratom or cannabis, trading one addiction for the other, but it's still further weakening their body. It's still giving them mineral imbalances. it's still not giving the body exactly what it needs to keep going. And then you start seeing the systematic degradation of a body. So what would happen if you actually brought in the correct chemistry, like the jelly juice? Because I did smoke in 2016 prior to doing the protocol, quit like in August of 2016, maybe had one cigarette the January of 2017. And then when I was on the protocol, my addictions to the cigarettes and the need for it on a psychological level because of stress disappeared. So all of you that have addictions, whether it's an opioid addiction, any kind of addictions, alcoholic addiction, prescription drug addiction, food addiction, like sugar addiction. Now, I understand that with the protocol, there's a specific diet, though people do eat off the diet. But as you actually drink the J juice, you're going to see your addictions, your cravings, whatever they are, they're going to actually subside. And whatever your body is needing so much of, whether it's so much sugar or so much minerals like in the cigarettes, or so much of the chemistry in the painkillers, your body is going to relax because now the necessary hormones are being expressed while the unnecessary hormones on a life trajectory are being suppressed, okay? And so this is why we don't just quit anything cold turkey. It's a transition. Some of you are going to still do your diet, whatever it is. You're going to be doing the J juice. Some of you will quit cold turkey, which is okay if you're bringing in the J juice, but then it's a very painful process, yes, because your body is now bringing in another environment that your body has to now adapt to, okay? And so it just depends on what you're willing to endure. And sometimes it's necessary to do a slow transition on the protocol, and then you see your addictions fall away. And sometimes people just quit cold turkey, but at least now they're supporting and replacing those minerals and acids with the right chemistry, a nutritive element that has balanced in the acids, the minerals, and the pro-hormones. Okay, but if you're just trading smoking to vaping, sorry, that's going to cause more issues. If you're gonna go transition from opioids to kratom or cannabis, sorry, it's not going to help you in the long run. Okay, there has to be a way when the body does quit cold turkey or transition off of anything. You got to give the body what it needs that it's missing, because it was getting some kind of nutritive benefit from those cigarettes, from that alcohol, from those prescription drugs. And now you have to bring in the correct chemistry to then balance you out that which you have used in the opioids and the prescription drugs, and then all the different addictions that you've had to keep you relatively sane so you can get up in the morning. Okay? And so so when I was thinking about my husband and him smoking cigarettes and all that stuff, I don't want him to quit unless he's willing to bring in the J juice. I don't see a point in him quitting smoking and going to vaping. That I don't see a point. Just keep smoking your cigarettes. But if you want to quit smoking cigarettes, then you better drink the J juice in conjunction to then help you transition, so it can then replace the minerals that you're going to be taking away from those cigarettes. Because when you quit those cigarettes, those are minerals the body needs to keep surviving, because you have created that need through a habit. And that's the same thing with coffee or any type of hormone-driven type of drink or food or whatever. I mean, you quit anything that your body has gotten used to. You now have to make sure that's being supported by the same thing or something very similar to it, so your body doesn't necessarily go into major upset of homeostasis. But when you have so many weaknesses, you're going to experience pain. Okay, that's the body trying to heal. And then, you know, addictions do get addressed with the J juice protocol. Okay, so smoking doesn't cause cancer. It's the weaknesses in the organs that do. And some of you don't know your family medical history. You don't know what kind of weaknesses that you have. And then you're applying the wrong protocols, the wrong chemistry to your body, which is further weakening your body. And then you added stress with all of your activism and your fear of the Illuminati and the fear of the government. And that is then, you know, a compounded type of issue. You compound all of your issues because of the fact of your lifestyle and belief system. Okay, so so that just kind of triggered a thought process in my head that needs to get out, because yes, smoking is just minerals. It has nutritive benefits. It has minerals. It has acids. Alcohol too. Not saying, I mean, I prefer not to drink alcohol. I don't want to, because I remember when I drank a bunch of alcohol and then drink the J juice to make sure that my acid balances were correct, I wasn't bringing too much acid into my body, then the yeast infections would be one of the symptoms of my body regulating. And I don't want to deal with yeast infections anymore. That was my curse during the healing process, and that ain't ever going to happen again. So I'm not going to bring in alcohol. Now, some people can drink alcohol and not have those types of healing from the overabundance of the acid and the sugar, because alcohol is a bunch of acid and it's a bunch of sugar. And if you already have a good balance of acids and sugars in your body and a good balance of prohormones and minerals and fatty acid and amino acid, and then you're bringing in something that tips the balance, then the body has to release it. And sometimes it releases it in different ways. It's called symptoms. Okay, the body's trying to adjust and release. And my curse is the yeast infection. So I will not drink alcohol, but some of you can. But just understand it's acid. So when you think of the body made up of fatty acid, amino acid, prohormones, and minerals, and you're drinking alcohol on top of that, and you already have imbalances, now your body has to adjust and try to get rid of it. And some of you don't have a well-functioning immune system to get rid of it, and so you accumulate it, and then it causes more issues. It causes damage to your liver and other systems in your body. Okay, and that's called disease and cancer. So yeah, so this is just another perspective on addictions and smoking and alcohol. And then when you apply the J juice to transition yourself off of these addictions, and you have to have the proper support so that way you can handle that process. But yeah, those that are not doing J juice and they quit cold turkey of alcohol and cigarettes, then what other drugs are replacing it? So that way your body isn't being deprived of the necessary components that was able to live through your addictions. So yeah, you had issues, but the body was still, trying to survive, and that's where all the symptoms came from. And that's why people stop doing things, because of symptoms. But the symptoms is the body trying to adjust, and you were not bringing in the necessary components. So you still could have smoked and done your alcohol, but you didn't bring in something like J juice to then, warrant you to then potentially get off those addictions. Okay. So anyway, just another perspective. Okay. So nobody should be getting off anything cold turkey without bringing in the proper support. And the J juice is a proper universal support for any addiction out there, any addiction. And whether it's a prescription drug or just a regular addiction that you have, whether it's smoking, drinking, sex, drugs, whatever, bring in the J juice. No matter what, bring in the J juice. And then you will start seeing your perspectives and your cravings change. Your biochemistry is going to change. And that's what to expect. All right. Bye.